never cease to amaze, and when it's dark, you are ablaze. You're keeping me safe, you're giving me strength, you call me by name, and you'll do it again, and again and again, and I can do anything with you, I can go anywhere with you. As long as you lead, I'm gonna believe we'll do impossible things, yeah. I got the victory, 'cause Jesus, you live in me, and we're gonna win, again and again.
My God, my rock, my strength, my joy, my hope, my peace. That's all for me, hey, 'cause you're living in me. I'm fired up now, nothing gonna stop me now. I'm fired up now, nothing gonna stop me now. And I'm unshakable, and I'm unshakable, and I'm unshakable. I'm unshakable.
Okay, I'll give you thanks for all you've done.
And I'm never gonna stop. No, you strengthen me, blessing me, holding me, molding me, set me free. So I'll praise you again, and again and again.
My God, my rock, my strength, my joy, my hope, my peace. And that's all for me, 'cause you're living in me. I'm fired up now, nothing gonna stop me now. I'm fired up now, nothing gonna stop me now.
I got the victory,
And I'm unshakable,
'cause Jesus, you live in me.
and I'm unshakable,
Come on and sing with me.
'cause I'm unshakable.
Hey, 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 hey.
I'm unshakable. Okay, yeah, I got something to say. You have set my heart ablaze, and I'll never be the same. Okay, there's just something about your name, and there's nothing gonna shake my faith. Hey, I'm unshakable. Okay, yeah, I got something to say. You have set my heart ablaze, and I'll never be the same. Yeah. Okay, there's just something about his name. If you can't contain your praise, let me see 1, 2, 3, go.
Good morning.
Good
Bridge
morning,
family.
Bridge family. How are we doing today? So I hope you're doing well. My name is Adienka Maladra. I'm my beautiful wife.
Georgette.
Hi. So guys, if you don't know us, my parents, I'm sure you'll know in the church, Ade and Maureen Maladra. And this week we have got the honor and privilege of presenting the Bridge Church sermon this morning. We've got quite a great show this morning. You just saw the Bridge Youth, one of the youth parties, and they will be leading the songs worship.
Lots
so
of
it'll be
lively,
really
upbeat
exciting.
songs, yeah.
Absolutely, can't wait to see it. So, lockdown, week 11. How have you been getting on? I hope you're surviving okay. Anything new you've done? What have you been up to?
Surviving. You've been at work.
Well, I've got to
He
try.
escapes the house. He gets to go to work, and he says he's surviving it.
You say escape, but I'm still working, so give me a break.
Homeschooling and working.
Sorry. So what have you done new? Tell me what you've been doing up to new.
I've been your barber.
Yes, guys, had to get myself trimmed up. So thanks to Madame Georgette for her hairdressing skills.
And what have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing this lovely lady's hair.
Well, not styling it, but he has relaxed it. I'm very grateful.
But the relaxing is the most important part, the basis and the foundation. So,
that is true. Mad skills you got during lockdown.
I try. But shout out to the hairdressers. I can't hold a candle to you guys. So, what should we expect from today? We've got quite a few things coming up. As I say, we've got the worship songs today from the youth group, so that'll be really great to see them doing stuff. It's good actually for them to keep doing all the worship, even though they're in a lockdown situation. As always, we've got the kids challenge.
Yay!
So-
Prize, and so get your pen and paper ready. There's like 3 questions for that.
Okay, you're going to tell them the questions?
Oh yes, well, it's you've got to look out for the revival anthem, and the 3 questions will be: first question, what color face paint was used? I hope you've got that down. What color face paint has been used? Name a football kit you see being worn in the revival anthem. And the final question is, how many people do you see wearing a hat? Get your pen and paper ready. You have to be super competitive. Prize in it. If it's chocolate, you may not see because you might eat it.
Quality control.
Gary,
Quality control.
yeah.
But remember, get your answers into the comments so we can see that, and then we will hopefully be able to announce the prizes at the end of the
Well, we'll give the answers at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Right. We will have the boss, the governor, Cookie, giving his message today, and following on from that, also Natalie Yates Bolton has been very kind to share her testimony, which will fit in beautifully with that. So what else has been happening this week? Well, I think I have taken time this week to reflect upon pretty sad situations happening in the world and things we're seeing with the death of George Floyd in the US. I'm not going to go into the story into too much detail, too much graphic detail, because we already know what's happened. But I think it affects us all. It's a story of racism, which is a sad, ugly story, which we have seen time and time again. I've personally experienced it. I'm sure many of you experienced it before. And I think, as Meghan Markle said, the wrong thing would say nothing at all. And this is my one time to stand and, to tell people that it's not okay and that we're all in this together. And it's about starting the conversation. We've seen the protests in the US and this country around the world. And so it's something that's affecting us all. And I think the governor, Cookie, is also going to be talking about this. And I think just because we have children and people may be affected by the difficult times, we will give a warning as he'll be going to a bit more. So if you wish to step aside for a few minutes or take the children away while it's happening, then we totally understand. But I think it's a message that Cookie will put across beautifully today.
I think also on the back of that, we're people of faith. And I think it's important to remember that. And I thought I wanted to share a passage from the Bible with you guys. And that's Galatians 3, verse 28. I'm just going to read that to you, just to remind us about this. There's neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. And we just have to hold on to that and remember that, but continue to be part of the difficult conversation and be part of that.
Definitely. Not to put it onto a downer earlier, but we're going to bring things back up again.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do shout outs, don't we?
Yay, of course we have to do shout outs.
So shout outs. First of all, Ben Slater turned 18 on Friday, so congratulations.
Happy birthday, Ben.
Happy birthday.
I'm only 3 years older, but I remember being 18.
Yeah, 21, 3 years. Okay.
Ooh!
I didn't say anything, and we're on camera, so all the evidence is here, so be careful. And also, we've got Letty Walker, turns 3 on Wednesday, so many happy returns.
That is shocking for me because I remember Lee being in the foyer area with Letty crying her eyes out, and now he's saying she's 3 on Wednesday. So
time flies. And importantly, any of the calf aficionados out there will know that Letty is one of the main characters in Fast and Furious, so maximum respect for that.
Maximum respect.
Big shout out to you, Letty. I hope you enjoy your holiday.
Birthday.
Your birthday.
Also, lots of comments coming in. Lots of you have been on and been getting into the live chats. That's great. Tilly, you're late today. Barry beat you to it.
It's a bit harsh.
Well,
it's all relative.
He knows it's an ongoing thing. And Deb heard what you're making sausage on toast for breakfast. Yum. Wish I could be tucking into that.
Why are you telling me that? No, I can't have any. You have to send some around. I'll put the address in the link.
And Barry, I'm glad that you've saved your walk until later. That way you're on time for service this week. So that's quite good.
She's a stiffler for time.
I am. It's important.
I know. I've been writing for
important.
nearly 13 years. I know.
Oh, yeah. We're celebrating an anniversary this month as well, is it?
Yeah. 13 years.
Get less for manslaughter.
I didn't want to say anything, but yeah. committed the crime and got away with it, or even if I didn't get away with it, it'd be okay. But yeah.
I don't think we'll be invited back to the ministry now. I don't think we will.
So one time only.
One time only.
Okay, we've probably had our time now, haven't we? So we probably should hand back over. So this morning we're handing over to Richard Hogg, Mr. Richard Hogg, Esquire.
Hoggy.
Over to you.
Good morning, church. Welcome to what is, I guess, church again. From my house here in Braitmere, I decided to ask Ross to come here so you could see me in my own house on a Sunday morning, just like you are at this moment in time on week 10 or 11 or haircut number 2 or 3, depending on how you're keeping time. I was thinking this week actually about having church at home and how when normally we say we're going to church, we think about a building, but actually these last however many weeks have given us the opportunity to have church at home and be church out where we are. I have also appreciated massively our kids workers. If you're like me at home right now, as the service is about to begin, as you're all sat down around the television or around your phone, you're asking your kids to be quiet, you're wondering when they can leave the service and go into a different room, you're wondering what they can do, you're asking them to just shut up, well we do, and that's okay as well actually. Do what Morley said the other week when Liz was singing, just turn the telly up, let them be part of it, let them be here, let them be involved in whatever is going on. And on that, I'd like us to actually think about, if you can, take a picture of you at home doing church, being church, turn the worship up, film it, take a picture of it, send it to our social media accounts. I'm sure somebody creative will put something on here so you can see the accounts what to send it to, and then it gives us the opportunity to actually see each other during the week. Somebody again will be able to get these pictures and put them together so we can see kids, we can see family, we can see our wider church community together. Today we've got Natalie Yates Bolton speaking, we've got Cookie speaking, sharing about Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, about standing up and about what's going on. If another opportunity for us to stand up and stand out, like Natalie said last week, was actually take a minute now, share the link to YouTube on your social media so somebody can come and join. As we go into our next worship song, we're going to take our tithes and offerings again, another opportunity for us to be community together and just contribute to the ongoing work that is still happening through the building, through the people going out helping everybody we need. Enjoy the service.
Now with tongues of fire.
Hi there, Bridge Church. Fantastic that you can be with us. Already we've had a great service and that's going to continue. Don't switch off. It's a bit more of Daniel. Do It Scared was a theme that the youth did some time ago. And my title today is Even If. You know, we're going to just look into the story of Daniel 3. A king called Nebuchadnezzar does this. He is in Babylon. He gets in the province, he gets all the leaders together, all the people who mean something, and he builds this statue that's 90 foot high with a head that's 9 foot wide, and the head alone is solid gold. Just imagine you're an Aussie treasure hunter. Have you seen it on TV? I watch it. I'd like to get my machine and go digging for gold. And you start digging, and then it starts beeping, and you shout, Sheila, I found something. Your wife's called Sheila. Clive, and you start digging, and then you start digging, and this head that's massive is there. Wow, that'd be worth a bit, wouldn't it? Anyway, let me continue. So he orders all the important people of the province to this place, and he says, I built this statue, and we're going to bow down and worship. So everybody who's anybody is there. Picture it. We've got a town crier, oh ye, oh ye. This town crier shouts out, attention everyone. Every race, every colour and every creed, listen up. I'm going to share something now and you need to act upon it. When you hear the band stir up, it's louder than the Bridge worship band on a Sunday morning. That's loud. Some of you saying, yes, amen. A loud band strikes up. When you hear that, you're to worship, you're to bow the knee to this golden statue that Nebuchadnezzar has set up for you. Anyone who does not do this will be set into and thrown into the fiery furnace. Not only a little furnace, a roaring furnace. So the massive band strikes up. It starts to play. Every race and every colour and every creed fall to their knees in worship. The golden statue that the king has put up. That is all but 3 who remain standing. Just think about that. Everyone else is conforming. 3 don't. Then these little weasers, fortune tellers of the day, go up to the king and say, oh king. Everyone else has bowed down apart from these 3 men, these 3 Jews. They're saying in a nice quiet voice, will you deal with it, oh king? The 3 men were Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Perhaps you've heard about them. Who were put in charge by the king himself and were already in high office. These weasels, they're ignoring you, king. Furious with rage, it says in the Message version, he went purple. Imagine that, went purple. They don't respect your gods, the fortune tellers say. They don't worship your God. They don't honor you, O king. Furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar says this. I can say his name, that'd be even easier. He says, get them here before me. Is it true? Is it true? I'll give you a second chance. It's interesting that initially said, immediately you're going to get thrown into the fire. But he thought, well, these guys, they're quite important. I'll give you a second chance. And then he says these words, who is the God who can rescue you from my power? Now kneel and worship. The band strikes up again. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego say this to the king in their own loud voice. Your threat means nothing to us. If you throw us into the fire, God will rescue us. Rescue us from that roaring furnace. But, oh king, even if he doesn't, we wouldn't bow down to the idols that you put up. We serve the God of our fathers and forefathers, our true God. This gold statue means nothing. Red-faced, again, with more anger, seething, the king ordered, heat the furnace up 7 times what it is already. Strong men from the army come alongside. They bind these 3 men up. Let me tell you about the young men. They were young men. Some accounts say they were teenagers. Wow, do it scared. Stand up. That is tough going. Even at a young age, they said, we're going to stand for what we believe. So the furnace is roaring. They're bound. Strong men of the army carry them to the foot of the door of the furnace. They die and perish because of the heat is so strong. Let's just pause there for one moment. We get the picture. 3 men, these boys, teenagers, walk into the furnace. Well, they're carried in, but in their minds, they're walking in. They've been set in high office, so they're well regarded within the group of people around, but they refuse to conform to the king's threats. They refuse to compromise their faith to this true God that they knew was in their hearts. They said that something in us says, no, we will not bow down. And ultimately, they were willing to die and become conquerors of that faith that they hold dear. Their own lives would have been diminished and gone. Let us just consider those 3 C's: conform, compromise, or conquer. Conform. There is a sense that all of us in our modern era, and in any era, conform to the law of the land. And at some level, we've been doing that on the lockdown, conforming to the request of our government. These 3 young men were doing that. They were conforming, even though the laws of the land were difficult for them. They did that well. They obviously were well regarded, even as these 3 Jewish men. They were set into high office. Even if the fire burns, we will not bow down. What courage and what faith. Their inner them rose up. No way, Jose. We will rather die than give up. You know, do it scared. There's something about that. Whether it be in your school, in your workplace, in your home, with your neighbours. It could be any environment. You could be in good health or poor health. But what are you conforming to these days? Are you conforming to an illness that says you can't? Are you conforming to a workplace that says this is the way it's done? Are you conforming to your schoolmates? The list goes on. Even our very youngest, who have been encouraged to go back into their nurseries this very week, they'll discover that this happens. As they learn, as they adapt to their environment, that wonder that God wants to put in them, that element of the fullness of all God's got for them will be squashed. We would ask them, be set apart as they grow and develop. But then peer pressure comes in. We encourage them to give their all and to trust in God. Bullies come along and they said, do it my way. And they conform to that. Listen, all of us at some level have been in those environments. It doesn't matter where we are. There's people who want to dictate how we live and how we do things. The world we live in wants to manipulate us into its pattern, to conform, to comply. And when we do, we will succeed. Dog-eat-dog society. We just need to keep quiet, not say anything, and it will be okay. Won't it? I say this with an emotion that overwhelms me in this current week that we find ourselves. George Floyd, a name none of us would have known that a few days ago or a week ago. Now mass riots, especially in America, are taking place. There is things going on in Manchester yesterday, marches. You know, as that overtakes our society, and I'm not condoning those riots and that looting, but I get it. I really do. A man's life literally ebbs away in front of us. I mean, literally. And I'm looking at the screens and saying to my wife, Anna, I can't believe what I'm seeing. As a man begs for his life, he says, I can't breathe. Will someone help me? And our condolences go out to the Floyd family at this moment. So very sad. Another situation that the magnitude of causes us to step up and shout, enough is enough. The challenge is with us every day of our lives. That's just the way it is. That's just the way the world is. Say nothing and be quiet. Romans 12 and verse 2 says this, do not conform to the pattern of this world. We are encouraged to be transformed by what? The renewing of our mind. We need to put our brains in gear, our minds. We need to open our eyes and ask, just what am I conforming to this day? This day that God has blessed us with. This day that God says, you are born for such a time as this. I say again, in the workplace, in the schoolyard, in the college, in the universities, at our home, with our neighbours. What part am I playing that I allow just to let it happen? What part am I compromising? We'll come to that in a second. You know, as a young man, I remember getting my chippy dinner, and I'm walking away with it in a tray, probably meat pie, chips and gravy, you know me. And I see this guy beating this woman. And something in me says, hey, stop it. Because I saw, you won't believe what happened. Anyway, I got punched in the mouth, dropped my chips. Then the woman comes up to me and said, you stay out of it. I'm thinking, whoa. And I dropped my chips, the main point of this point. You know, something in me says, this is not right. I had something that rolls up and I got a thick lip for it. Sometimes we need to get a thick lip to stand up and stand out. I've never stopped doing that. Those who know me well, whether I'm managing at the football team, whether I'm with my family, and I see something as an indiscretion, I will stand up for injustice and say, this is not right. Come on, church, what are we conforming to? God will give us the strength, even if we do it scared, to overcome. Even if those around you are shouting something different. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would not conform. Number two, neither would they compromise. Over the past few weeks, I've heard story on story from our Bridge Church family about not compromising. Joe Ward's challenge with that brain hemorrhage 4 years ago. When I see limitations, God sees my possibilities. Simon Trinder last week, an actor of 20 years, talked about being a principal actor within The Lion King. And then the director getting those principal actors together and actresses and saying, what defines you? And doing it scared, Simon says, Jesus defines me. If you've not heard it, listen it back. It's powerful. What the power of that is this, that other people in that group hadn't said anything at that moment. Then they came out, 2, 3, 4, 5 people said, yes, Jesus defines me also. Do you know what Simon told us after? He said this, that those individuals said, Simon, if you'd not stood up and said that, I don't know whether I would have had the courage to say anything either. You see, you standing out and you standing up makes a difference. Compromise says it's only a little white lie. Compromise says, as Peter said, I don't know him, even swearing that he didn't know him. Compromising his friendship and his love, Jesus. Conforming to his surroundings, to the crowd. You see, the culture of our day shouts at us from every angle. That has never changed and never will change. Through all the ages, a constant drip. Listen, compromise. I set up a business many, many years ago in the ceramics industry. And when you are setting up a business, you are desperate for orders. And you're asking God for help and picking up the phone and ringing people up. And you're developing that business. And I remember meeting the educational authority. And they said, come and see us. We want you to make some. And I'll get to what they want you to make the effigy, a Buddha, an idol. And I said, can I see your premises? And I went into this massive warehouse. And in the midst of that, there was rows on rows with every other religion. And I said, where's your Christianity? And there's one little shelf with a few books on. And then this is what they said. We want you to make 250,000 of these Buddhas to go in every school in the country. That would have made me and us a millionaire overnight. Do you know, something inside me said, that's great for business. Why wouldn't I? I said, no, I am not going to compromise what God has put in me. You know, and I had weeks and months and years of not struggling, but trusting in God and God blessing the small and making that fruitful. Sometimes we can't look at something that's a gift horse and say, oh, we should do it. We've got to understand that God has always got the best, but we should never renounce him. Surroundings want to brainwash us into their molds, into its mold. Privately and consistently, without fail, put their faith and their trust in their God. You know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did that. Privately, they prayed. We've heard it from weeks before. Privately, you know, even though the window was open 3 times a day, they would get before their God and petition their God and thank their God for his goodness. In God's hands, even if they were willing to go to their death. You know, compromise shouts this. Psalm 118, 6 and 7. The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Then it says these words. The Lord is with me. He is my helper. I look in triumph on my enemies. Let us consider culture for a moment. It undermines, if we're not careful, our relationship with God. And finally, conquer. We pick up this story of these 3 men in the furnace. In the furnace that's been made 7 times hotter. The strong army men have actually died because of the heat. Listen, I mentioned just a moment ago about having a business that was a ceramics business. I know all about kilns. We had massive kilns that were truck kilns. Literally, you put all your wares on the kiln and you truck them into these massive kilns, 100 cubic foot each, and they would get up to above 1,200 degrees. That is very, very hot. And you know, as they were cooling down, there was a need to crack the door open to let a bit of the heat out. So you let it get to about 180 degrees and you just crack the door open a bit to let the cooler air come in and to cool the wear inside a bit quicker. You know what it did? I lost my eyebrows, I lost my hair. Not that I've got a lot of hair, but at the time I had, because that heat was overwhelming. So I know what it is. You might have a log fire that you've been sat with over these nice evenings we've had, or even you might want to have one at home in your front room. But you know what happens? You know, you move a log that's in that fire. Whoa, I used to do that with a candle very slowly until it got me. You know, heat just overwhelms us, even a small amount of it. So that's where they are. They're in this red hot burning furnace. Now, I mentioned about there being putting three fingers up. 4 in the midst of this. To say these men were courageous is an understatement. They were convicted and compelled, even if. Without God, they may not have entered that furnace. They may have bowed down to those idols. The king is wringing his hands as they enter and they're thrown into this. He then looks into the fire. Didn't we throw 3 into this fiery furnace? I can see 4. Imagine that. Imagine it for one moment. In the midst of that heat, the miracle, they went in bound and they were stood. That was one thing. The other, there's another person in with them. You know, the king said, come out, and called to them, come out of that fire. As they walked out, the king and the government leaders examined them. Their clothes weren't singed. Their hair wasn't singed. They did not even smell of smoke. Well, we know next to a fire you stink of smoke. Wow. They were perplexed. You know, Nebuchadnezzar said these words, blessed be the God that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are worshipping. He sent an angel and rescued his servant because they trusted him. Their inner strength, unbreakable faith, was loyal to their God, even to death. Does that remind you of our Savior Jesus Christ, who, when he got the opportunity, 40 days praying and fasting, then he looks over this vastness, and the devil says, this all can be yours. And Jesus says, get behind me, Satan. And like a lamb to the slaughter, even if he went to that cross, 3 days later, rising from the dead, that we might have the life and life to the full. Do I rely on God? Do I conform to the word I live in? Do I compromise my life and lifestyle for gain? Or do I conquer? You know, I love reading about Bear Grylls. My son Ross got me a book recently and I've been reading it again. And he shares an account when he's in the North Atlantic. He's 400 miles from Greenland. It's freezing temperature and he's in a dinghy. Yes, a dinghy. It's a rigid one, but it's an open top one with 5 other colleagues. He's the only one with faith. All that way from land. And the sea has got, like, it's as big as, he says in the book, it's as big as a house that's crashing over them, They're scared. He says, Bear Grylls says, I was scared, feeling that this night we were going to be capsized and no one would come to our rescue. Then what he did, he said, the only way we're going to get through this is if I take the helm and steer this boat through. So as they clung on for dear life and they kept crashing these massive freezing waves on them, they get through the storm and eventually reach land. But you know what? The great story about that, yes, that's great that God saw them through. But then one of the men with them in the crew said this, do you know, Bear, I have no faith, but I saw an angel sat on the front of the boat the whole time we were going through that storm. Now you might say, oh, as if, but actually this man had no vested interest in saying that. But Bear Grylls' faith and his determinedness of working through that situation with God at the helm got them through. Do you know, as I wrap this time up, and thank you for being patient with us and with me, just a week or so ago, we had that element of remembering our Dunkirk spirit. I love the British mentality because it has an attitude of courage. 70 years ago, a convoy of small civilian ships set off from our shores heading to Dunkirk. We had 300,000 of our troops that the enemy had pushed into that place, and almost they were going into the sea. They were all going to be annihilated. And do you know what I love? I love the fact that the shout went up and the shout went out, and these owners of these small civilian vessels said, we're going to go into the breach, we're going to pick up these soldiers and we're going to bring them home. Without a care of their own safety, they got in those boats and they went. And as I said, 300,000 troops were saved. Even if we die, we're going to do it. Even with the knowledge that the enemy is over there, we're going to do it. They stood up to the tyranny that was before them and said, as for me and our house, we are going to go into that situation. Daniel 6:22. My God sent his angel and shut the mouth of the lions. They have not hurt me. Acts 5:19. But during the night, an angel of the Lord opened the doors of the jail and brought them out. What are we conforming to today? What areas of our life are you compromising? Listen, you're not alone. You are more than a conqueror. You can do all things through Christ who will give you strength. You can do it scared, but do it. Stand up. Stand out. Do not go to that tyranny and that king that would say, well, follow this idol and you can have all this. All this can be yours. The truth is, it will rust away. It will rot away. And you'll be ended with nothing other than what you came into this world, and that's your nakedness. Trust in our God. Do you know that song, Even If? We're going to sing it over you now. Well, I'm not. Our worship band is. Even If, from our worship team, says these words. I know you are able. I know you can. Save me through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. It is well. It is well with my soul.
They say sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Right now, oh right now I'm losing bad. Stood on the stage night after night, reminding the broken it'll be alright. Right now, oh, right now I just can't. It's easy to sing when there's nothing to bring me down. Oh, what will I say when I'm held to the flames like I am right now? And I know you're able, and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. They say it only takes a little faith to move a mountain. Well, good thing a little faith is all I have right now. God, when you choose to make mountains unmovable, oh, give me the strength to be able to sing His well with my soul. And I know you're able, and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow and I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But brought me. I know you're able, and I know you can. I know you're able, and I know you can. Sit through the fire with your mighty hands. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow, and I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't, and my hope is you alone. Yeah. Oh, my hope is in, it is in you alone. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul.
So over the last 10 weeks, all our lives have changed. And my approach to the last 10 weeks has been to try and live gently and embrace the slower pace of life. But I am mindful that in our community and in our world, not everybody is having such a gentle time. They're having more challenging and tough times. But whilst our lives have changed, God hasn't changed. And we read in Hebrews 13 verse 8, "For Jesus doesn't change, yesterday, today and tomorrow. He is always himself." And in the line before that, it says there should be a consistency that runs through all of us. And in my life, I've tried to use the lines in Hebrews 13 verse 9, that the grace of Christ is the only good ground for life. So in the last 10 weeks, that's really how I've tried to live my life. And over the last few weeks in church, a few people in our family at the bridge have been sharing their stories. And if you've been at the bridge for a while, you will have heard my story before. In fact, you might be thinking, oh no, not her again. Anyway, I'm trying to keep it to 5 or 6 minutes, hence my notes here. So if you have heard my story before, you'll know that I've had cancer 5 times and I'm having my 5th course of treatment now, which really is going to last for a very long time. It's kind of lifelong chemo. So in each of these times, I've felt, like in the book of Daniel, that I'm in the fiery furnace. And when I've felt that I'm in the fiery furnace, I've actually not just been in it. What I've realised at the end is that I've been going through it, and there's a big difference there. So whilst it's been tough, whilst I've been in the fire of the furnace, I've known each time that God is there with me, and that has made a massive difference. And as we read in Daniel about Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, I've had people who've been willing to stand in the fire with me, even though it's been really painful for them. They've been willing to stand with me and support me. So what I've learned from my time in the fiery furnace of illness is that I can also choose to be the person who stands with other people when they're going through their times of illness. So in the book of Corinthians, I always turn to this page in Corinthians when I'm called to support somebody else as they go through their cancer journey. So Corinthians, the second book of Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 3 to 5. All praise to the God and Father of our Master, Jesus the Messiah, Father of all mercy, God of all healing counsel. He comes alongside us when we go through hard times, and before you know it, he brings us alongside someone else who is going through hard times, so that we can be there for that person just as God was there for us. We have plenty of hard times that come from following the Messiah, but no more so than the good times of his healing comfort. We get a full measure of that too. So healing's mentioned a couple of times in just those few lines, and healing means to make whole. And in the New Testament, that word healing appears so many times. And it makes me think that illness and disease can't ever have been part of God's plan. For me, that would be like going round and breaking somebody's windows and then coming round and saying, hey, let me fix that for you. I just don't think that's God's way. But I am mindful that in times of COVID-19, we can all play a part in other people's healing. We can all contribute to other people's lives so that they can feel whole again. So because I'm on this very long-term chemotherapy, my lockdown has been very strict. My family have really had me under lock and key, so I'm lucky to be allowed out today. But it's been like a scene in The Elves and the Shoemakers, so obviously that's not a Bible reference. But in our house, every evening when the rest of the family retire, I get out my sewing machine, and I'm not really known for being a sewer, but I've been making face masks for family and friends. And I thought I'd just be making a few, but word spread, and I've now got a really long waiting list. I've been making face masks for building sites, for my cousin's colleagues, for my husband's colleagues, for my colleagues at work. So word's really spread. What I have been able to do, where I haven't given them as a gift to family and friends, where it's been to people who are friends of friends, I've been able to ask them for a donation. So I've asked for a donation for each of these masks to Friends of Friends for the charity Refuge, which is the domestic violence charity, because I'm mindful that whilst I've had a gentle time during the 10 weeks of COVID, other people will have been experiencing a very different life at home with violence and trauma. So I've just found really just a small way that I can hopefully contribute to other people's lives, that it'll contribute to helping them feel whole again. I've also been able to support 2 friends by phone who are going through their times of a fiery furnace, and they're facing or going through cancer treatment, and really very tough, prolonged cancer treatment. So it's been a privilege really to stand with them and support them in their times of the fiery furnace. And part of our job as Christians, it's not about being in it for what's in it for us. We're called to make a difference. So in my 5 times of cancer treatment, there have been difficult times, and I have known that God is with me. But when I've emerged out of the other side, I also know that God has a plan for my life. Because we read in John 10:10 that Jesus said, I have come that you'll have life, and life to the full. And in the Message version, it says, I came so they can have real and eternal life, more and better life than they ever dreamed of. So with COVID, for some people, coming out the other side of the fiery furnace of their illness will mean that they have died and gone straight to heaven. They've gone to eternal life. For other people, as we come out of COVID, as I've come out of my cancer treatment 4 times, but now living with the 5th time, as I've come out of the furnace of my illness, I've been called to make a difference, and I've been called to live life to the full and have a blessed life. So whilst we are facing challenging times, we know that God is with us. We know that we're called to make a difference, and we know that we're called to live life to the full.
And you stood outside my grave with tears still on your face, and I heard you say my name.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Cookie and Natalie Yates Bolton, for sharing both your hearts and testimonies today and what you're doing. I was thinking this week when I was reading Daniel 3 in preparation for today, in terms of what was so special about Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. And actually there's a verse, and it says, even if, and I know that was what the song was about, even if whatever happens, they will still stand up, they won't bow down. And when you think about what Daniel did and what Natalie shared the week before about Daniel, it's all about being consistent. It's about consistency in our lives. It's about knowing what we will do in times of uncertainty and where our focus is. Is our focus actually on what's going on around us, like a fire and some flames, or is our focus on what is within that fire, and is our focus on God? And it made me think about this actually. In 1 Corinthians 16 verse 13, it says, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous and be strong. And at this time it'd be good if we can actually stand firm in our faith, in what we're doing when everything is going on around us. So as we finish, and as we go back to our host, I just want to thank you again for coming with us today. Just why I think about it, actually, some of you are probably thinking, why is Oggy got a shirt on? Well, it's the worst shirt I've got, so I thought I'd match with what Cookie's done. And I know a lot of us will have been dressing up smartly for Zoom and stuff like that whenever we're doing anything in the last couple of weeks, so thought I'd make the effort as well. Thanks very much. Have we got enough there, Ross, yeah?
Yeah, all good.
Matt, thank you.
Right.
Hi guys, welcome
Great.
back.
Thank you. So that's been an amazing sermon from Cookie. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
With the 3 C's: to conform, compromise, and conquer. I hope that helps us all. This is a really, really fitting, especially what's happened recently, and also as our faith in general. So thank you so much for that, Cookie, as you always continue to break things down for us and make it into nice bite-sized chunks to understand. And also, I really want to say thank you to Natalie for that. Was really
so powerful,
a very touching and very powerful testimony of somebody who's never given up. For her, it'd be easy to just run away and stay away from everybody else, but she's actually, picked up her tools and done something really amazing, creating all these face masks. Somebody like myself, I really appreciate some of that. So great news, and also creating money for the refuge.
And also to say, if anybody who's ever come across Natalie in church, she always has that serene sort of calmness about her. And for someone who's really in the fire, going through the thick of it, and to remain so positive, so calm, so given, I just find that really inspirational. Very, very, very amazing. So thank you, Natalie. That was really good. Also, some sad news. Lee and Ruth, the family, Ruth lost her father, Glyn, last week, I think. And we just want to send some prayers to the family, let you know you're in our thoughts. God will give you the grace to bear it, to stand it. We ourselves know what it is to lose, and have a loss in that significant way, and just for the whole family to pull through and pray for the family with that.
Yes, absolutely. Our prayers will be with you. So any more shout outs on the
well,
messages?
There's still time to send in answers to the kids the competition, because I don't think we have a winners yet. In case you don't get it in today, you can always send it on Instagram or Facebook, and if you do send in the right answers for the 3 questions, then I'm assured that the prize will still make its way to you.
So you've got another week to get it in, but really, guys, it's the first one in, so don't sleep on it. Go back and watch this again on YouTube, and then send in either by Instagram for the tech savvy ones, or for the more normal of us, on Facebook. So go on Facebook.
And Sue Marrow, yes, thanks for noticing. Matching. I got my dress on first, for the record, just so everyone knows that I was the one doing the matching.
Oh, right, okay, that's fine. It's okay. I'm comfortable with that.
And could I just say as well, this has been such fun.
Oh dear.
Such fun.
Anyone who watches Miranda know exactly what my dear wife.
Yeah, I was determined to get that in. I really wanted to get such fun in.
There was no way we could have got through this without such fun. So she's had her fill, so she should be happy. announcements. Should we go with the
Yeah,
announcements?
we can do announcements, and then
Okay.
we do some of the answers we got through for the competition after as well.
Great. So we had the Alpha Holy Spirit Day, which had an amazing response from that. So massive well done.
To the team, yeah.
Exactly.
Pull
I'm going to
that
be hearing from them in a few services' time, so you're actually going to catch up and see what's happening with them during the Alpha celebration service. Kids camp. So even though we're on lockdown, all is not lost. We're going online.
Online people.
Online.
Yeah.
So if you have children, check it out. Sign up. Supports and help the kids.
And in
this
fact,
way.
I think Erin may send some emails out this week as well to those who have children, just to encourage you to sign up to
Absolutely,
that. Yeah.
absolutely, amazing work they're doing there. So really do support them on that. Bridge Youth.
Yeah, don't forget about Bridge Youth and
Bridge
Kids.
Kids.
Well, still being very active on the social media platform and the website, so still get
Live
involved
streaming.
with that. Quizzes, teaching, you saw the video at the start and how they're still being creative and getting together and still praising God. So don't forget about that. And particularly for young people, can find it so challenging with the social distancing and the lockdown and all that.
Totally,
so we can
totally.
still be together, but not together, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So check out social media pages, check out the websites, everything we've done there before. I think the important thing with this is we're going through difficult times, and it just seems that more and more stuff's being put on top of us. So if there's anything in today's service that has resonated with you, anything that's upset you, we're here to help. We have a team here who will help out. So there's very much a pastoral element to this. It's not just fun and games and singing. It's a wider family. So I'm sure it'll be coming up on the screen shortly, but there's an email that you can contact, the pastoral. Oh, there, perfect.
Oh, right, spot on.
pastoral@bridgebolton.com. Tech guys are great, aren't they? Yeah.
They are great. We'll have to do
Almost
a
by
shout out
magic,
at the
exactly.
end for them as well.
And as I say, email them. Somebody from the ministry will be in contact with you to help you with that. So that's really important.
Before I forget, there's some more birthday shout outs. Runke and Stella apparently are also having birthdays.
Happy birthday.
I can see it on the message. So happy birthday, yay!
Happy birthday, Ronke. Happy birthday, Stella. I'm sure Ronke will know what HBD stands for. So happy birthday. Gosh, she doesn't do social media.
I don't. I'm so bad. It's just shocking.
It's a very Nigerian social media thing.
It's the funny thing is, I've actually become a YouTuber in lockdown, but I still don't understand it. It's in a foreign language to me. But no, it's been such fun.
Oh dear. When she says social YouTuber, she means that she does the stuff and then shouts at me if I don't make the get the shots right. So, but anyway, we'll pray for her.
Thank you. Have me in your prayers. Go on. Sorry.
Okay, I was just going to say before you jumped in, apart from just the email, but I would always say go to the Bridge website, which is a brilliant website. It's www.bridge.com. Again, amazing tech stuff. It's almost like by magic.
Magic, yes.
But brilliant. And there's so much more information there, and how to get in touch, things that are going on.
I'll give the answers. Oh, do I give the answers?
No, don't give the answers.
Don't give the answers.
Well,
No, I can't give the answers.
No.
You see, they shouldn't trust me. They won't ask us back again to do this.
I wouldn't ask her back again to do this.
So some of the answers we've had is Ellie has said navy for the face paint.
No,
the answers that Ellie has given out. Can we not say what? You've seen it in the feed.
No, but the point is, you're not supposed to give the answer. There's some people just steal her answers and get knocked
Well,
right.
I don't know if she's right or not.
No. But the point is.
Do you see what I've got to work with? Okay, Ellie, Daniela, and David have given some answers.
So nice try, guys, but you're not quite there. So go back and watch it again. You're still with a chance, but
such fun.
Right. Okay. Who else is on the thing? We're probably getting abused now on the feed.
No, we're
Wait for
not.
Twitter to blow up.
But no birthday wishes. I don't think there are any other shout outs. Happy birthday, Lou, apparently.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Many happy returns.
I think people must be tired of hearing us now. Are we?
Is that so?
I think so.
I don't know. It depends whether they want to get rid of us now. I'm sure they'll just turn us off.
Anyway, it has been really good to have you in our dining room. It's been good to worship together.
Yes.
It's been a powerful message from Cookie and timely.
Absolutely.
So
couldn't have done it at a better time.
And just really continue to enjoy the newness of what the lockdown means for us and continue in our faith. and loving each other.
Absolutely.
Anything else from us?
I think, stay safe, guys.
Stay safe.
You'll find ways of doing interesting things. Like we had a dinner party on Zoom, and then dinner parties on 2 different cars.
Yes, on the driveway.
KFC is great, but I'm not advertising them. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Next week, at least on YouTube, and hopefully not too long before we actually get back into the building and see people face to face, but probably still social distancing, but and those masks might come in handy.
Yeah.
So it's a shameless plug for Natalie's cottage industry.
Okay.
So without much further ado, have a wonderful Sunday, have a wonderful week, and stay safe and see you soon.
See you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.